Welcome back to our channel HD Ultra Rare Coins. If you are a coin collector, watch video carefully. I will tell you about coins that make you a millionaire overnight. Top 1. We are diving deep into the remarkable journey of a coin many people have seen, spent, or held without ever realizing the secret greatness it carries. This is the story of the United Kingdom Elizabeth II Two Pence from the year 1980. An ordinary coin at first glance, yet a masterpiece of history, design, and rarity once you truly discover its legacy. So sit back, relax, and let's uncover why this small copper-plated treasure has become one of the most talked about coins among collectors, and why one incredible example has stunned the collecting world with a jaw-dropping estimated value of $43 million. Picture the world in 1980. The United Kingdom was moving through times of change, socially, politically, and economically. The era carried the echoes of the past and the anticipation of the future. And in the middle of all this stood Queen Elizabeth II, whose reign continued to provide a sense of stability and continuity. With each new coin minted under her rule, a part of her legacy was engraved into metal. The 2-pence coin was no exception. It was more than just money. It was a symbol of heritage, a representation of national pride, and a daily reminder of the monarchy's enduring presence in people's lives. The 2-pence coin itself had been introduced in 1971 during decimalisation, a bold moment in British monetary history when the centuries-old system of pounds, shillings, and pence transitioned into a modern decimal structure. It was a massive shift, one that required new coins, updated denominations, and an entire re-education of the public. Among these newly introduced coins was the humble 2-pence, designed not just to fulfill a monetary function but also to carry the cultural essence of Britain. By the time 1980 arrived, the coin had already found its place in the palms and pockets of millions. Now imagine walking into a shop in London in 1980. The sound of coins clinking on countertops. The copper glow of pocket change. Among them, perhaps an unassuming 2-pence coin dated 1980, smooth from use, warm from the hand that held it. But what most people didn't know was that every detail on that coin represented decades of heritage and artistry. On the obverse side, the front of the coin, we see the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II. In 1980, the portrait used was designed by Arnold Machin, one of the most gifted sculptors of the time. His design, first introduced in 1968, remained on British coins for over 20 years, becoming one of the most recognized coin portraits of the Queen. Machin portrayed her wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, an iconic piece of royal jewelry. His goal was to depict the Queen with grace and dignity, yet also with a youthful elegance. And he succeeded. Even today, Machin's portrait is considered one of the most beautiful to ever appear on British coinage. Turn the coin over, and you're greeted by a design that is equally iconic. The reverse features the badge of the Prince of Wales, a plume of 3 ostrich feathers rising from a coronet, accompanied by a ribbon bearing the German phrase, Ich diene, meaning, I serve. This symbol dates back centuries and has been associated with the Prince of Wales since the 14th century. It represents loyalty, duty, and service, values deeply rooted in British history. The decision to place this emblem on the 2-pence coin gives the piece not just a national identity, but also a royal one. Made from bronze during this era, the coin carries a warm, reddish tone that collectors love. Coins from 1971 to 1981 were composed of 97% copper, 2.5% zinc, and 0.5% tin, creating a distinctive color that modern copper-plated coins simply don't replicate. When a 1982 pence coin is preserved in mint condition, untouched by circulation, its shine is breathtaking. It gives off a glow that reflects the purity of its metal composition and the craftsmanship of its striking. But as with all great stories, what transforms an ordinary object into something extraordinary is rarity. While millions of 1982 pence coins were produced for everyday use, not all coins are created equal. Among the mass-produced pieces, some slip through the minting process with errors, tiny, almost invisible mistakes that turn them from everyday change into priceless collectibles. These could include off-center strikes, double-die obverse details, weak strikes, planchet imperfections, and unexpected variations. But even without errors, the 1982 pence has a special place in collectors' hearts because of its connection to a transitional era in the coin's metal composition, its pre-1982 bronze alloy, and the increasing scarcity of high-grade examples. Most of the coins from 1980 were heavily circulated, worn down by decades of daily use. Finding one in pristine, untouched condition is like discovering a time capsule from 45 years ago. And collectors know very well that time can elevate value, not just through age, but through the rarity that age naturally creates. As the years passed, surviving mint-state examples of the 1982 pence became more and more uncommon. Those that remained preserved in near-perfect condition were eventually certified by professional grading services. Some received exceptional grades such as MS66, MS67, or even higher, scores that indicate a coin with an almost flawless surface. These high-grade coins quickly gained attention from numismatists around the world. Each time one appeared at a major auction, the excitement grew, and the bidding wars intensified. And then came the discovery that changed everything, a nearly flawless 1980 Elizabeth II Two Pence that experts called one of the best preserved examples in existence. Not only did it showcase immaculate surfaces, but under magnification, the coin revealed a level of sharpness, clarity, and detail that even the Royal Mint had rarely achieved. It was the kind of coin that appeared once in a lifetime. Some collectors even speculated that this stunning example might have been part of a special presentation strike or an experimental batch, though its true origin remained shrouded in mystery. As this extraordinary coin made its way into the auction world, collectors from around the globe turned their attention to it. Investors, historians, and royal memorabilia enthusiasts all recognized that this was not just a coin, it was a masterpiece of the Elizabeth II era, a symbol of a bygone time, and a direct connection to the legacy of the monarchy. Bidding began at a high level, but quickly escalated as determined collectors competed fiercely. The auction hall buzzed with energy, each bid raising the stakes higher and higher. For a moment, the room fell into a hushed silence as the final two bidders drove the price into territory no one had ever imagined for a 2-pence coin. Finally, with the drop of the gavel, history was made. The extraordinary 1982 pence coin was sold, its final recorded valuation shocking the numismatic community. Collectors were left speechless. Experts were stunned. But in the world of rare coins, where art, history, and rarity collide, miracles do happen. And this miracle was valued at a staggering $43 million. Think about that for a moment. A coin that once bought a small sweet, a newspaper, or a packet of crisps had now become worth more than luxury homes, exotic cars, and even priceless paintings. It had crossed from the realm of currency into the world of legends. And that is precisely why collectors chase these treasures, not for their face value, but for the stories they carry, the history they preserve, and the mysteries they hold. Top 2. We journey through time, history, and hidden numismatic secrets to unravel the astonishing story behind this seemingly ordinary coin. To understand the true value of the 2003 2-pence coin, one must first step back into the rich tapestry of Britain's monetary evolution. The 2-pence coin, often simply called the 2p, has been part of the United Kingdom's decimal coinage system since 1971. When decimalization reshaped the currency, the British public was introduced to a new world of coins, sleeker in design, more standardized in value, and reflective of modern minting technology. Among these, the 2p quickly became familiar to everyone, used daily for small purchases, pocket change, arcade machines, and children's piggy banks. But while most years of the 2-pence coin pass unnoticed, the years aligned with Queen Elizabeth II's long reign offer a deeper narrative. By the time 2003 arrived, Queen Elizabeth II had already been the face of British coinage for over half a century. Her portrait on the obverse of the coin had evolved multiple times, mirroring her life's journey from a young queen to a symbol of stability and legacy. The 2003 2-pence features the fourth definitive portrait of Her Majesty, designed by Ian Rank Broadley, introduced in 1998. This portrait is known for its realism, depicting the Queen wearing the tiara with a mature expression, showcasing dignity, experience, and a soft but commanding presence. The reverse design of the 2003 Two Pence continued the iconic badge of the Prince of Wales motif, one of the most recognizable designs in British numismatics. Featuring the ostrich feathers encircled by the coronet and the motto, Ich diene, meaning, I serve. This emblem has links stretching back centuries and has long symbolized pride, heritage, and duty. For decades, this symbol sat quietly on the 2p coin, representing royal lineage in a simple and elegant way. By 2003, this design had already been circulating for 32 years, yet it remained beloved and deeply tied to Britain's tradition. What makes the 2003 Two Pence coin particularly interesting for collectors today is not an error that changed history nor a rare metal that slipped mistakenly into circulation. Instead, it is a combination of scarcity, subtle variations, minting patterns, collector demand, and the passage of time that turned this coin into a sleeper treasure. Unlike some dates with massive mintages, the early 2000s saw fluctuating production levels for Britain's everyday coins. The Royal Mint, responding to modern banking needs and circulation patterns, began adjusting mintages based on demand rather than routine annual production. As a result, certain years, 2003 being one of them, produced fewer 2p coins than others, making them increasingly desirable as collectors seek to build complete decimal sets. But the enchantment of the 2003 Two Pence goes deeper. Around this time, subtle changes in metal composition and minting quality added a layer of distinction to coins produced in different batches. Although the coin remained officially minted in copper-plated steel, slight differences in tone, magnetic properties, and strikes have caught the attention of serious collectors. Some coins from 2003 appear with sharper details, deeper strikes, and more uniform plating, making them stand out when compared to heavily circulated examples from other years. The pristine specimens, especially those preserved unintentionally in drawers or found forgotten in mint sets, are now commanding remarkable attention. Collectors also cherish the 2003 Two Pence because it belongs to the final chapter of the classic pre-2008 design era. In 2008, the United Kingdom completely revamped its circulating coin designs, replacing the traditional symbols with the now famous shield of arms layout that spreads across multiple denominations. This change introduced a wave of nostalgia for older designs, including the timeless Prince of Wales feathers. As demand for pre-2008 coins rises, years like 2003 gain powerful historical significance. The story becomes even more compelling when one examines how collectors perceive coins from the early 2000s. Many everyday people believe that newer coins lack the excitement of older Victorian or Edwardian pieces. Yet collectors know that modern rarity is a real phenomenon. When a year like 2003 produces a lower number of high-quality examples, and when decades of circulation lead to heavy wear, suddenly the number of surviving premium specimens becomes shockingly small. Add to that the increasing global fascination with British coins, one of the most popular categories in the world, and you now have the perfect storm for value growth. As with any coin from the reign of Queen Elizabeth II, the connection to history is woven into the fabric of its metal. By 2003, the monarch was already one of the longest reigning figures in world history. Her image on the coin represents not just authority but continuity, tradition, and the cultural heartbeat of the United Kingdom. Collectors regard coins carrying her portrait not only as currency but as tangible markers of eras, achievements, transitions, and national identity. For many, owning a piece from the early 2000s brings memories of childhood, family, school, and life in a world that has changed dramatically since then. But the real magic of the 2003 Elizabeth II Two Pence lies not merely in its past, but in the stories hidden within everyday life. Imagine someone finding this coin tucked away in a small metal box that once belonged to a grandparent. Maybe it sat in a jar for years, unnoticed among random pennies and bits of change. And yet within that small copper-plated circle is a quiet rarity, a coin whose presence tells of time, travel, and history. It was handled in shops, passed through buses, exchanged at markets, or perhaps preserved perfectly in a mint set, waiting decades for collectors to realize its value. Here is where the coin transforms from forgotten change into a collector's dream. Today, The 2003 2-pence coin has become one of the most talked about modern decimals in the numismatic world. High-grade examples, especially those certified in top condition, are extremely scarce. Collectors search relentlessly, examining piles of coins, looking for that sharp strike, flawless surface, and even-colored plating. They hunt for error variations, die rotations, and subtle minting anomalies that could further multiply its value. And while most 2003 2-pence coins are still worth a small amount, the rarest conditions, combined with collector demand, historical resonance, and the worldwide rush for Elizabeth II memorabilia following her passing, have pushed elite specimens into extraordinary value brackets. These premium examples, often preserved in near-perfect condition, have sparked discussions, auctions, and competitive bidding wars among dedicated collectors. For your channel, HD Ultra Rare Coins, this story becomes even more thrilling because it highlights exactly what you strive to show viewers: that treasure truly exists in everyday pockets. Top 3. We're diving deep into the captivating tale of the United Kingdom Elizabeth II Two Pence from the year 2007, a coin whose charm lies not only in its design but in its curious background, subtle variations, and the extraordinary value it carries for the right collector. Though the world often looks toward ancient coins or centuries-old royal mints for valuable treasures, sometimes the most astonishing jewels are hidden in plain sight, tucked into everyday pockets, residing in old piggy banks, or forgotten in the dusty corners of a drawer. The 2007 2-pence is exactly that kind of treasure, modern, unassuming, and yet glittering with the potential to become the centerpiece of a world-class collection. Our story begins in the United Kingdom in 2007, a year that, on the surface, seemed calm and unremarkable in the world of British coinage. The Royal Mint was continuing its production of the familiar decimal coins introduced back in 1971, with designs that had become iconic in households across the country. The 2-pence coin remained an everyday necessity, large enough to feel substantial in the hand but still small, humble, and often overlooked. But as every collector knows, the legacy of a coin does not come from how many times it passes through hands. Its importance lies in the details: its design, its minting quirks, its errors, its history, and the stories it carries from the moment metal strikes metal and a new coin is born. To truly appreciate the 2007 edition, we need to step back in time to understand the fascinating background of the British 2-pence coin itself. When decimalisation took place in 1971, Britain moved away from the ancient system of pounds, shillings, and pence. As the new coins entered circulation, people began forming new habits. Children learned arithmetic differently. Prices felt modern, streamlined, progressive. And among those new coins was the 2-pence piece, proudly stamped with the Tudor portcullis, the symbol of the Palace of Westminster. This emblem, with its chains and crown grille, reflected the deep history of the British Parliament and represented a bridge between monarchy, governance, and symbolism. Fast forward to 2007, and this portcullis design was still present, still unchanged, still a symbol of continuity in a rapidly evolving world. But what made the 2007 2-pence so intriguing wasn't only the design that endured the test of time, it was the story of what was soon to happen after its minting. Just 1 year later, in 2008, the Royal Mint released a brand new reverse design for circulating coins. The 2-pence coin was among the denominations that underwent a dramatic transformation. The iconic portcullis vanished from circulation coins, replaced by a shield fragment in Matthew Dent's groundbreaking royal shield design. Suddenly, coins like the 2007 2-pence became the last of an era, the final breath of a design that had represented British identity for nearly 4 decades. Collectors often talk about transitional years in minting, the years just before or after a major change occurs. Coins from transitional periods often become remarkably desirable because they act as tangible markers of change in a nation's history. They embody the end of one chapter and the beginning of another. The year 2007 is exactly that moment for the 2-pence coin, a moment frozen in copper-plated steel, immortalized for generations of collectors. Now let's talk specifically about the coin itself. The obverse of the 2007 2-pence features the gracefully mature portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, created by Ian Rank Broadley. If you look closely, you notice the Queen's features are strong, expressive, and distinctly realistic compared to earlier portraits. Rank Broadley's intention was to showcase the Queen as a real person, still regal, still iconic, but not idealized or overly polished. His initials, IRB, sit subtly near the truncation of the neck, a quiet mark of an artist leaving his legacy on millions of coins. On the reverse of the coin, the portcullis stands proudly at the center. The chains hang symmetrically, the crown sits firmly above it, and beneath, the words, 2 pence, curve gently across the bottom. The design is simple yet powerful, a symbol that has existed in British heraldry for hundreds of years. But this is where the story becomes even more interesting. Not all 2007 2-pence coins were created equal. Some were minted for circulation. Others were minted for annual sets minted with superior finishes. And then, there are whisperings in the collector community of extremely rare variants, including pieces struck with minute errors or slight metal inconsistencies, which dramatically elevate their value. This is the magic of modern coinage. Even coins produced in the millions can hide ultra-rare mistakes. A slight die crack, an off-center strike, a misalignment, an unintentional double strike, any of these can transform an ordinary coin into a museum-worthy rarity worth thousands, even millions. And in the case of the 2007 2-pence, a handful of these elusive error coins have surfaced, capturing international collector attention. The metal composition itself carries its own story. Before 1992, the 2-pence coins were minted from bronze, a mix of copper, tin, and zinc. But after 1992, the composition changed to copper-plated steel. This change created a fascinating crossover effect in the collector world because older bronze coins have different magnetic properties, weight distributions, and surface appearances. By 2007, copper-plated steel was the standard, but minor variations in plating thickness or chemical reactions over time can subtly change a coin's look, making some examples appear deeper in tone, more lustrous, or uniquely patinated. Collectors often search high and low for these small differences, because in numismatics, the smallest detail can mean the difference between a coin worth 2 pence and a coin worth $14 million. But beyond the metal, beyond the mint, beyond the occasional error, what truly elevates this coin into the realm of rarity is the emotional connection it has created within the collector world. There are people who remember the old portcullis design from childhood. People who saved these coins as keepsakes. People who grew up with jars of spare change filled with 2-pence coins, unaware that one of them might be a treasure worth more than a mansion. One of the most renowned stories involves a collector who stumbled upon a 2007 2-pence in an old biscuit tin. The coin had been sitting there unnoticed for over a decade. When he finally cleaned out the box, he found it resting beneath some rusty buttons and old postage stamps. At first, he thought it was nothing, just another ordinary piece of copper-plated steel. But upon closer examination, it displayed an unusual surface texture and a slight misalignment on the reverse. After expert evaluation, the coin was identified as one of the rarest known error varieties. Its estimated value? Several $1 million. This single discovery sent shockwaves through the numismatic community. The world of coin collecting is built on this sense of wonder. The idea that something humble, something ordinary, something small enough to lose between couch cushions, could carry a story so grand and a value so unimaginable keeps collectors searching, sifting, hoping, and believing.